If it wasn't for Tim Pool, no one would ever know Latinos lost a television network. That might not have been a bad thing.
Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. The slant, yeah, but isn't this the unplugged version? I don't know. I think it's the unplugged version. All right, Paulie, let's go.
Paulie back here on the Latino slant. How you doing? Hola, ¿cómo estás? Please make sure you are subscribed, and thank you guys for being here. Um, wow. I mean, you know, I don't even know where to begin. I do, but I'm uh I'm a little fat flabbergasted, if I can say that. I can say that word, flabbergasted. I'm a little flabbergasted that I had to find out that a television network, English language, dedicated to Latinos, millennials, which debuted in 2013, shut its doors down a few days ago. And I found out through Tim Pool. Tim Pool actually used to work for this network and he did a story on it. I did not hear about it on any other Latino television networks, in the blogosphere, Twitter, all that stuff. So that blew me away. And I want to thank Tim Pool for covering this. He used to work for Fusion, and that's probably why he covered it. Otherwise, I couldn't see a reason why he would. So it's a great video. I will add that link into the video's description below. But before I start, I want to do two things. Let's pay the bills. Okay, if you guys want to become a member, do it now. There is great perks and kickbacks, all some fun stuff. I have a wonderful um, membership uh, contingency called the Slantinos. So that is one thing. Also, too, you can check out our merchandise, check out all this good stuff. Let's check this other thing out here. Oh, look at that. You can see we got cups there. Pretty cool. Yeah, that's our studio. And there's our cup right up there that you can check out at our merchandise page. Good. All right, let's get to it. Univision's ill-fated cable net fusion ceases operations. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. I think I've paused this enough. I want to get right into the story. So, uh, let's start reading it, and then I'll stop as we go. This is in Forbes by Veronica Villafañe, who's a contributor and says, "I'm an expert in the Hispanic media industry." Fusión ceased operations December 31st, 2021. Univision has pulled the plug on Fusion TV, the cable network it initially conceptualized as an English language news and lifestyle channel targeting millennial Latinos, but it ended up being a mishmash with no true identity that evolved into a convoluted, money losing mess. The network ceased operations today, December 31st. Its rocky tenure lasted 8 years. Univision issued the following statement about Fusion's demise. As a company and a brand, Univision is committed to serving Spanish language audiences currently in the US and soon globally, with the launch of our streaming service in 2022. To continue delivering on that mission, our sole focus will be on this growing audience, nearly 600 million strong. And to that end, we ceased operations of English language network Fusion TV on December 31st, 2021. With this renewed direction under our new leadership, Univision is doubling down on its focus and strategic investments to fill the need for in language and in culture content. For Spanish-speaking audiences around the world. In language, in culture. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. This press release really bugs me. So, what it's saying here, guys, is they're just gonna double down and go back to the bread and butter, which is the Spanish language market. No offense there. That's where the big bucks are. But they're sweeping under the rug this huge failure and money loss failure of Fusion TV, which could have been a landmark in bilingual television, English language for Latinos in the US, because a lot of us exist. Spanish was not my first language. A lot of Latinos in the United States, it's not their first language, it's English. And whether they decided to journey back to learn Spanish like I have and then continued to do, along with my history and my culture, that is upon them. But what this says to me is truly a lack of knowing what they wanted to do, a complete lack of identity. They got swept up into the politics of trying to be something for someone else and not just, this is who we are, let's rock. But let's read some more. The move puts an end to a project that had a lot of promise but ended up as a failed experiment that started with Univision partnering with ABC to launch Fusion as a joint venture. The cable net launched in October 2013, quickly earning the moniker Fusion Confusion. The startup faced numerous challenges, but most notably finding its own identity. Executives and staffers struggled to find the elusive millennial audience that we're targeting. It didn't help that a channel whose owners were two of the country's top broadcasting companies had no brand recognition and trouble getting distribution. It didn't help that a channel whose owners, to the tops, had no brand recognition and trouble getting just. I'm just in shock, man. I've been around this game. I'm gonna tell you guys since the '90s, and I've been a part of local bilingual networks here and there, and the ones that worked, the ones that truly worked, that were special, had a very localized identity. If you're, if you're a channel that's focusing on Cajun culture in Louisiana, you don't start doing segments about New Yorkers in New York to appeal to the New York crowd. You hone in on your identity. You see what's really grabbing the attention of people. But this, I'm surprised and not surprised. Executives kept launching and pulling shows and talent. It was like they were throwing a bunch of spaghetti at a wall to see what would stick, not to stick, only to find nothing worked. There were a lot of questionable decisions about programming and management. Since its launch, Fusion canceled many of its original TV shows, some of which were unbearable to watch and downsized personnel, yet invested heavily in bringing in high profile digital journalists for its website. Ugh, death. That's death. Which was relaunched in February 2015. So it was like not even 2 years that where they just had to relaunch and relaunch. Oh, yeah, yeah. When Univision filed its plans for an IPO with the SEC in July 2015, it was forced to open its books, revealing Fusion lost 35 million in 2014 alone. Okay. It doesn't take a brain surgeon to do research on Latinos in the United States. Let's take the example of Latinx. Poll after poll, research after research showed that a massive supermajority of Latinos in the US preferred not to use that word or didn't know about it. Changes are being made. You see it from political parties to entertainment companies vying for that Latino dollar and vying for that Latino vote have taken the X out. It's pretty simple. When you're trying to program for a particular targeted audience, you got to get your research done before you flip the lights on to that TV network. There's got to be at least a year to 6 months of research, marketing, programming ready to go. Who are you going to appeal to? What's a demo? It's not, this is not hard math, everybody. It's not. It's not. And to spend $35 million in 2014 and not to come out with anything successful, this reminds me of another network, Me Too, where they had their most successful thing was the cholos that tried different things as far as trying different food, different things to eat. Huge. It was massive. Speed it up. New honchos that came in. They hired a a new generation of people. They got rid of all that. They got rid of all that content. And guess what? Me Too failed. I would love your comments on this. I would love your comments on it. Were you even aware of this network? This really could have been something groundbreaking. Because when it's done right, these networks, these new television shows, just like an MTV, you know, um, they just leave a lasting impression on pop culture. And in here, it could have been something way much more inclusive, bringing in people to some really amazing cultures. Now, I say that because, Latinos are not a monolith, and we've said that before. To give you an example, I told you, being an American-born kid of Mexican descent that I am, tunneling back. This is a Panamanian hat I bought a few years ago. Panamanian hats are worn by most Latino men all over Latin America. This one in particular was made in Mexico. Most of the famous Panamanian made hats are not made in Panama. This is from Gallarta Sombreros Gallareta, hecho in Veracruz, Mexico. And I say this because as a Chicano tunneling back and connecting to his Mexican roots, this hat takes on something more than just a hat for me. Music acts from different Latin American countries take on something more, especially if that music is great. There's a stronger connection for me. I'm not alone. A lot of Latinos love to tunnel back because we're already American. We're entrenched. We got it. We got that down. But like, well, what's this other part? So this is a huge loss for Latino Americans, US Latinos. This and the fact that it's all this money too. Good Lord. Good Lord. Um, wow. Wow. So let's read a little bit more, shall we? And I hope you're doing well. Please make sure you're commenting, share this story. The joint venture relationship soured. Disney owned ABC parted ways in 2016. Fusion went through a series of cuts and changes in programming over the 3 years that followed, and in 2018 attempted to rebrand itself with a new logo and on-air look. That didn't help much, as the cuts kept coming. That year, producers, editors who worked on the cable news network investigative documentary series The Naked Truth lost their jobs. Univision Univision's acquisition of the Gawker and other sites such as The Root and a $27 million stake in The Onion, veering off into the English language content, contributed to the company's confusion in its own identity. In the beginning of the end of that strategy, Univision investing in Gawker, investing in The Onion, The Root. Are you kidding me? My mic's coming apart because I can't believe what I just read. I mean, you're not only throwing spaghetti on the wall, you are throwing money out the window. And it was always simple. I give you that. I give you, you have budget cuts. Here's a budget cut. These YouTube channels that we're doing, we are more successful getting the word out more on music and films, interviewing awesome people, bringing stories to light than any of those networks worth all those millions. Where did all that money go? Again, it's not hard math. I believe you guys are into the Latino slant because we are, for lack of better words, authentic. I'm here to entertain and enlighten. I'm here to share my table of the Latino culture with you. I'm here to geek out with you on stuff that I love to geek out about. And I'm here to also kind of spotlight great Latino films and movies and television shows that you might never have heard of. Start there with your $45-35 million. You don't need to acquire Gawker, The Onion. Man, you really, you got some horrible advice. Woof. Por favor. Por favor. No me digas. All right, let's finish this up. Shortly after Univision scrapped its attempt at an IPO, there was a flurry of leadership changes and departures. That's always good. When the leaderships are changing faster than the programming on the television network, you're not in a good spot. CEO Randy Falco announced his retirement from the company. Fusion execs were jettisoned as the network continued to flounder into oblivion. There hasn't been any new programming on the ill-fated cable net in 3 years. It's a wonder the company didn't pull the final plug until now. Perhaps it's the final effort to clean house as the company prepares to enter a new phase in 2022 when Univision will merge with Televisa. That's going to be a monster to create the largest Spanish language media company in the world. Good job, Veronica. And I do mean that. Great article. Great article. Listen, man, this should be no surprise to people that follow the stuff that we cover on this channel. No surprise. No surprise. This is when you get lost in the politics of identity. And you're not able to just tell your truth, man. What is your unique perspective on the world? What would make that television network so unique? I can tell you right now, you start off with Latinos that are English speaking, that are in the 5 major markets, and you take it from there. You find out what are the biggest hits, what are the biggest likes, and you take them from there. But if you veer off from that, this is what's going to happen. And it was only, I mean, it was only reported that Fusion lost 35 million in 2014. Can you imagine how much more money they lost? But again, it's a new era, and I think this is why networks such as we're not a network, we're a channel, Latino Slant, The Daily Chela, American Cholo, Midnight's Edge Espanol, why we're doing so well. Keep supporting us. We know who we are, and we believe you like what we're doing. Take it from there. But Tim Pool, I tip my hat, sir, to you in covering this. All right, we'll see you on the next video. Muchísimas gracias. Another one bites the dust. You know, I say this every time. Wherever you're at, keep your slant fuerte. Fuerte means strength. Your slant is your perspective on the world. Keep your slant fuerte. Gracias, everyone.
Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. The slant, yeah, but isn't this the unplugged version? I don't know. I think it's the unplugged version. Paulie.